compilation analysis. Haven't done this in a while. You may be wondering, why haven't you done this in a while, second? Well, the simple answer is, I didn't really want to use blastoise at all. Because it's still a very iffy thing to me. I don't know. So far, everything's been kind of, like, really, really, really good. Like, Megazord X is really, really, really good, and more people should use it and love it and hump it. Yeah. Like the fucking IV guy. I'll get onto him in a sec. He really annoyed me today. And, you know, Mega Houndoom is awesome as well. And then there's, you know, the shit, which is Mega Amphi, Mega Aero, Mega Banette. I'm sorry, Gummy, I'm sorry. Mega Banette's just fucking awful. It really is. I don't care. Mega Banette is just grim. Anyway, but Mega Blastoise is a weird one for me. I know Robotnik is Sexy used it to some pretty impressive, you know, usefulness in one of his battles. Because, you know, Robotnik is Sexy is awesome, and you should really go watch him instead of me. His narration is way better. But whatever, I won't plug him too much, I won't kiss his ass too much. But I know he had some success with Mega Blastoise. In this video at least, by the way, that Latios, sick idea, friggin' defog and Thunder, I was like, you're genius! You're genius! You bastard, but you're genius! So I was like, fuck, he really clobbered me there. And then he kills my Espeon and stops me wish passing to Blastoise. I was like, bollocks. But yeah, I know he's had some reasonable success with it, but I will say one thing, it is definitely better than regular Blastoise, alright? Its ability and its coverage moves are all improved by it Mega Evolving. Okay? For a purely defensive set, if you want it, or a purely sort of wall set, you could run it in rain, you get Rain Dish, it will probably last a bit longer, but its defenses are vastly improved, and its special attack is a ginormous improvement, and its ability also boosts a wide variety of coverage moves, like Flash Cannon is usable, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere, Water Pulse is usable as well, and while it is still a little bit less powerful than Hydro Pump, you don't have to worry about it missing, and you might get confusion hacks. So I will clearly say, for an offensive set, and maybe for a sort of vague utility set, it is better. I'm not going to argue with that. But it still doesn't make it good. I mean, like I say, if you're going to run a purely wall set, I would still say your best shot is regular Blastoise. Just because you can get much better recovery. I mean, you need fucking lefties. I swear to God, the amount of these bloody Megas that are entirely ruined by the lack of an item is unreal. It's so dumb. I mean, that's kind of what annoys me. I mean, you know, Game Freak made a massive thing about these Megas, like, oh, these Megas are so cool, you press the button and your Mega is like, yeah, cool, sort of ball of weird light stuff, and then, oh, out comes this cooler version of it. It's like, great, you didn't really think about what it would do to the Pokemon, though, did ya? I mean, Mega Banette is not improvement on Banette. Alright, you can't even run it needs like a sash, but it can't get a sash. It needs lefties to be good, doesn't get lefties. Mega Aero, that could use a sash for a lead-off set, or it could use a Life Orb to get a bit of extra power on it, or a sash for the Home Claw set, but it doesn't get any of that, does it? No. It could use a lefties for a defensive set. No, it doesn't get that either. No, it doesn't. Like I say, in my honest opinion, Mega Houndoom and Megazord X are the only two I've found so far that don't need an item. Because Mega Houndoom is very quick, and it outspeeds a hell of a lot of things. It would be improved by being scarfed, but it doesn't need a scarf. It doesn't need an item. It would help if it had one, but it doesn't specifically need one to fulfill a duty. It has enough power, it has great coverage, it has, you know, a stat boosting move. It doesn't need an item to make it better. There are enough things in its set and in its, you know, base stats that make it good. But, by the way, that Talonflame, I hate that Talonflame. The main reason this guy won was because his Talonflame fucking bossed it. Like a man. Like, there was no fucking, like, I think at one point I go for I think I might have already gone for that Psyshock actually. I go for a fucking Psyshock on it. It doesn't do anything. Well, it does like 60%. I was like, it's a Talonflame. What is this? Unless you're running the defensive set, this should be killing that. I mean, come on. Actually, it might have been a Dragon Pulse as well, which is even more unnerving. But Talonflame's defense is a piddly, but it's still, like I say, it bossed this match for this guy, and he deserved to win just because his Talonflame would not give up. It fought to the bitter, bloody end, and I was like, that's an awesome Talonflame. It pissed me off, but it was awesome. So there you go. Anyway, getting back to it. But like that, you know, I suppose Megazord X could use some lefties, just because Flare Blitz rapes it so hard. But it gets Roost. Yeah, it gets Roost. And, you know, for the physically defensive set, it doesn't really need lefties either, because, again, it gets Roost, and it gets Wisp to power down hits to the point where it can handle them. It gets Dragon Tail to shuffle things. It gets Flamethrower. It has the special attack to use Flamethrower on a mix set. It can do all these things. That's what I'm talking about. That is the true key here. So, that is my opinion of Mega Blastoise, basically, when you get down to it. Like, it's good, alright? I'm going to say it right now. Its special attack is very, very good, and its ability clearly boosts its moves, and you can even use those, power boost on a wall set, because you don't have to invest. You've already got these 120 base power moves right there, completely brilliant accuracy. They're not going to miss unless someone's a dick and is using, like, Sandvale Chomp, or like some wanker who used a Hail Glaceon and it had Snow Cloak. I was livid when I saw that. I was like, you scummy whore, you couldn't even run Ice Body? No, you had to run Snow Cloak like a git. Should be ashamed. Oh. But like, it needs an item. That's what it needs. I mean, it's, like I say, special attack is good, and having the base 120 moves, like, right there, just good to go, you don't have to do anything, is really helpful. So, like I say, in that regard, it is definitely better than regular Blastoise. However, a spec set on a Blastoise is going to be more powerful than the Mega. But, again, because you have such a wide variety of moves to pick from, it doesn't, you know, it's probably better than a spec set regular Blastoise. But for a purely, if you want to run a wall set, just go for the regular one. Because the Mega, it is very good at tanking moves. I'm not going to argue with that. I have to say, the first battle was physically defensive, this one's specially defensive. The first battle, I'd rather it have been specially defensive, although you saw how well it was taking those Lucario hits. That's impressive. Like, it took 28% from a Dart Pulse, and I have no special defense investment. That is good. But here, I would have really liked physically defensive set, because that Victini's just like, oh, hey, haven't seen me in a while, I'm just going to pop up and inconvenience you. So that's what I'd say. By the way, this battle, like, complete polar opposite from the last one. The last one was really good. It was really nitty-gritty nail-biter stuff, like, right to the very end. 4% Talonflame to win it. This was just shit. He roared himself out. At one point, he goes for a fake-out with Ambipom when he'd been in for a couple of turns. It's just like, really? This is how we're doing it. Okay. But, I don't know. But that's just kind of where I'm at with Blastoise. It needs an item. It is definitely not shit. I'm not going to say it is shit. That would be a vastly unfair and stupid way of looking at it. Because it can just do a hell of a lot more things. It has a very wide and varied amount of things it can do. It can play a reasonable rapid spinner if you want it to be. Sort of like an offensive Starmie type rapid spinning thing. If that's how you want to look at it. It definitely has the bulk to live stuff, but it could have, you know, it can have all the bulk. Like, look at Shuckle. Shuckle's got all the bulk in the world, but ultimately, if it gets hit by a Stone Edge from something, it's still gonna get like two-shotted, and that's kind of where it is with Blastoise. I mean, there are a couple of times like that. Crobat is a nasty plot set with Giga Drain, and it gets up to +2, and Blastoise takes that well. It takes like 45% from it, and I'm thinking, you know what? That's really good. If it got recovery, but it doesn't. The best recovery it gets is Aqua Ring. If it had lefties right there, then that's an entirely different kettle of fish. That gives it a lot more survivability, and it makes a wall set a lot better. But it's not like Megazord X. It doesn't get Roost. That's just kind of where it stands, you know? So, yeah, that's pretty much my full opinion. It's definitely not woeful. I I would encourage you to try it. It might fit into your team really well, and it is going to sponge some hits, and it is definitely going to fire back with some really powerful hits. By the way, I completely goofed on that Furfrou. I thought, oh, I'll outspeed the Cobalion, it'll be fine. Like, wait a minute, it has like base 108. What the fuck am I doing? But it works out. It was alright. It was alright. Yeah, it just needs an item. It needs lefties. I mean, maybe I would take its bulk as an indication that the Rest Talk set might be really, really good. So, if you want to try it out, I won't, because I've already gone over my stance on Rest Talk sets by now. I would say probably worth a go. You know, it'll be like my Rest Talk Politoed of old, except you have a base 120 water type move. Well, higher than that, because it gets stat. Actually, no, it is base 120, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Or base 135. Oh, no, I'm terrible. But you get a really powerful water type move that can confuse, and you can put Toxic on it, so it might actually make a really very, very, very good specially defensive or physically defensive Rest Talker. But I still maintain, if you want to use it as just a bulky thing with like a rapid spin, yeah, rapid spin, Toxic or Raw, like what he was doing. His one had way more survivability because it had fucking lefties. That's just the long and short of it. And while it does get very good coverage moves, and all the coverage moves you really want apart from Ice Beam are boosted to 120 base, it still isn't quite enough. I mean, there have been a number of occasions where it's failed to kill what I want it to kill, and that's just not good enough. Again, it falls into the same category as Amphi, you know, or Garchomp even. It needs to kill the thing to get anywhere because it can't recover. It just needs that, or, you know, yeah, there are a few non-megas that are like that, but a Mega Evolution is, you get one on your team, that's it. I mean, you can have multiple Mega Stones, fine, but if you're going to use a Mega Evolution, in my opinion, what you want from it is absolute, just the pinnacle of usefulness. That's why Mega Mawile or Mega Medi is good. Mega Medi gets like 600 fucking attack. That is a useful stat when you can't boost it. That is power. 420 with some good, moves and stats, that's fine and dandy, but again, it's still, if you want it to take hits, fine, it will take the hit, but it can't take lots of them. Again, it is, all of these megas for me, like if you try and run defensive sets, they start turning into Shuckle, alright? And Shuckle needs like Rest Talk or Resto Chesto to be good, doesn't it? Well, it's exactly the same with all these megas. Yeah, a lot of them can take a hit. You know, Mega Amphi, if you don't run the Rest Talk set, you just want to run a specially defensive or physically defensive or whatever, it will take hits for you. Granted, randy dandy. But there's only so many hits it's going to take. And, you know, if you want it to attack and kill things, like if something comes into it, you want it to kill, so that you don't have to keep sponging hits, because it will die if you do. But they can't, and Blastoise is in the same boat. So maybe a Rest Talk set would be better, or if you have a really reliable Wish Passer, then yeah, it might work, but it is still blighted by the same problems as what I foresee most of these megas to have. So, I know, like I say, that is the main difference. Megazard X works because it gets Wisp to lower the damage it takes to a really, like, you know, like, I don't know, usable or viable degree to the point where it can live it convincingly, and it gets Roost. The recovery is the main and most important flaw of most of these defensive megas, and most of these offensive ones as well. A lot of the offensive ones, they really need a source of recovery from somewhere. So, I know, I'm kind of keeping an eye on Mega Venusaur, though. He looks like he might just be good because he gets, like, Synthesis and Leech Seed. By the way, Furfrou fisted that Venusaur. I was so happy with Furfrou. It took nothing from that. Like, 20% from an EQ and then just 53% to your pansy Venusaur. I was like, fuck yes, Furfrou. Anyway, those are my opinions on Mega Blastoise. I urge you, give it a try, see how you feel on it. I don't know, I'm a bit iffy. Anyway, Absol's probably next, so I will see you guys for that. Peace.